Descent of the Demon God. By Hanjo Wiolia. Chapter 238. Side Story. Part 5. It was a terrifying sight. A horrifying sight of a corpse walking around. Cirque. Cirque. The monster looked like a rotten corpse. When one of them shouted as he looked horrified seeing the walking rotten corpse, the others denied it. What shit? What nonsense is that? How can that happen? The human psyche is a unique thing. The one who enters the mountain of the dead will never come back alive. It is a place that only the dead can enter. It is one of the legends of the three band areas that's located in the Midwest region. Everyone present knew about it being just a legend, yet all of them were anxious. As they froze, their leader, Yunja Seo, stepped forward. SRR. He drew his sword and shouted at the approaching monster. Look, I don't know who you are, but stop. In response to his warning, the approaching corpse accelerated towards them. Rather than walking, it was now running and screaming. Quiet. The sight was terrifying. Surprised by the evil-looking monster running in, Yunja Seo hurriedly used his sword. Pew-poo-puck. Coo-coo-coo-coo-coo. The stabbed monster was all bloody and staggering, but something more strange happened. Black blood? Chun Wumyang was puzzled at it. Black blood was coming out of the wounded area. It seemed similar to what happens when the blood gets old and rots. Ugh. Hu Bong, who usually had a strong stomach for such things, frowned at the rotten corpse. The rogues approached the fallen monster. What is that? Is it human? It seemed like an animal howling. Chuck. Yunja Seo put his sword back in its sheath and looked down. Taking a closer look, it really just looks like a corpse. It looked like the monster died a long time ago. Ho. Zhang Ai, who made a fuss about the dead, said, "Isn't he dead?" Hey. Didn't you see the dead person got stabbed by a sword? Enough, Ho Zhang. The rogues turned anxious. Perhaps, because of his bravery, the nerdy-looking Han No Gi sneaked close to the corpse and used one hand to hold his nose while the other had a branch touching the corpse. What are you doing? Looking. Like this black blood, maybe it is a plague. Plague. At the word plague, everyone closed their noses and mouths simultaneously. It was a reasonable guess. Once upon a time, a small village in the mountains was hit with a weird plague, so the entire place was isolated. Does one turn into an animal when they get plague? Ko Wangsuk asked Hu Bong with a puzzled expression. How could Hu Bong even know of it? Well, it's my first time coming across something, it was then. Quack. Crack. Ack. The corpse-looking monster, which had collapsed, abruptly got up and bit the ankle of Han No Gi. Shocked, he tried to kick the monster away using his other foot. Puck. The monster bounced back. Quack. SRRNG. All of them drew their weapons at the same time. It was very shocking for them that the corpse-looking monster was alive. How can that be? I touched and sealed more than a dozen blood points, how is it still alive? Yunja Seo did seal the blood points. Moving like that shouldn't be possible after getting stabbed, but the monster moved unbothered. Crick. Crick. Damn it. Han No Gi grabbed his left ankle that was bitten earlier. The flesh was torn off. One of the rogues supported him to balance. Can you walk? Quack. It looks like you broke a tendon. It was difficult for the man to now use light footwork. Quack. The monster, not caring about anything, jumped and ran to them again. At that moment, they were all puzzled at the monster that doesn't die even after getting stabbed, kicked, or sealed. Chuck. After one swing of his sword, the head of the monster running toward them rolled on the floor. Then Hubong stood behind with a sword in his hand. Let's see if it still survives even without its head. Ah. The rogues calmed and looked at the monster, which had its head cut off, and thought if this was better than stabbing it 100 times. There was no hesitation in his hand. Some of them frowned at how effortlessly Hubong's sword moved. In rare cases, most clans wouldn't aim for the neck of the opponent. Even though they use martial arts, they don't aim for the throat. They can't be from the forces of justice. And such thoughts formed in their mind. On the other hand, Chen Wumiang and Ko Wang-suk, who received harsh education since childhood, had thought of cutting the head and wondered if this monster would still move. But another weird thing happened. Huh? The headless body was trying to attack Hubong. Hubong, too, was shocked at this strange thing that he had never witnessed before and avoided the monster. Tat-attack. What is this? He tried to dodge, but the no-head corpse-looking monster kept running toward him. Eik. The rogues were gasping. First, they thought it was a plague, but now they were confused. The decapitated body was moving in front of them. It was strange. Very strange. Ka-ka-ka-ka-ka. Another surprising thing was that the severed head was constantly screaming. D dead. T the dead. Right. This monster was indeed a dead person. Otherwise, this wouldn't be possible. Uncle Hu. Legs. Aim for the legs. Chen Wumian shouted. Okay. Chuck. Hubong avoided the incoming monster and cut off the legs. And when the legs were cut, the body fell down. However, since the body had no legs, it tried to use its hands to catch Hubong. It was such a terrifying sight. Quack. This time, Hubong was shocked and finally revealed his strength. Weak. Flame sword on his sword, and Hubong, who had the blood of Qilin, was holding it. F flame on sword? The rogue's eyes widened. Among the Murim, only a few could handle the flame chi. No. They were surprised. Weak. When Hubong swung his flame sword, the body crawling toward him was caught on fire, and one usually dies after receiving that kind of attack. Yet, despite being cut in half and burned, the body still moved. Thud. What the hell is this? Everyone was speechless at that sight. A loud noise could be heard from the dark underground place. Bang! Bang! Something was wanting to get out. The person looking into the iron bars with curious eyes was Chen Youan. Interesting. The reason why Chen Youan said that was because only the head, torso, and left arm were trapped inside the iron bars. All the other parts were cut off, but the body was alive. This is interesting? The emperor next to him frowned. It was a frightening sight for anyone. The being inside this prison was a corpse, yet it was moving. Where did you find this? A valley near the mountain of dead. It was the crown prince who answered very carefully. Mountain of Dead? One of the 3 banned areas. Chen Youan heard of it. It was the only banned area that Chen Youan hadn't visited. You found something interesting. To his reaction, the crown prince spoke in a stern voice. Don't take it so lightly. What would that mean? No matter how many times it is cut, put in water, or burnt, it will move. Oh. Which meant it was immortal. However, it couldn't regenerate. Which was why Chen Youan didn't take it seriously. I don't think you had to call for the help of the cult for this. It seems like something that your Golden Guards or the East Spears could handle for the Emperor. The Emperor replied, that isn't it. What do you mean? As you said, if it could be handled with them, we wouldn't have sent a letter requesting for your help. Chen Youan didn't understand it. Even if it can't die, you can make it immobile and lock it up. What is the problem? At Chen Youan's question, the Crown Prince Zhu Qiyun spoke. Then we wouldn't have asked for help if it's just that. The problem is that monsters are infectious. Infectious. Chen Yuan looked at the monster with serious eyes. Crack. Ack. Han no gi, what are you doing? The man supporting him panicked and pushed him away. Quack. He looked at his shoulder. As he was supporting, the flesh was bitten off. Han no gi began to bite his shoulder. What crazy shit, huh? The eyes of the angry man went wide. Quack. Han no gi's eyes were both dazed, his skin turned gray like a corpse, and black veins appeared, transforming into something horrible. Crack. And he was biting on the flesh he knit from his comrade earlier and gulped. It was a frightening sight to see. Han no gi. The others, too, noticed he was acting strange and pulled far. It was like seeing a monster. He was slowly acting like the monster which moved even after being burned. Collect yourself. One of them shook him, but the Han no gi they knew was no longer there. Quack. A monster-like sound came from his mouth that they couldn't understand. What does this mean? Quack. Han no gi, who turned into a monster, rushed to the man he bit. Flustered, the man moved. Fat. Or run away. They would rather fight against alive people than the dead who would rush to them repeatedly. Everyone, withdraw. Yunja Seo, the leader of the rogues, shouted. Everyone moved aside because they didn't want to stay there any longer. Papa. Young master? At Hu Bong's question, Chen Wumiang nodded his head. Since he didn't know what this monster was, it was right to step back. Kayak. The scream of Ko Wang Suk was heard. Ko Wang Suk. Chen Wumiang looked at her. He was surprised to see Han no gi, who turned, holding one of her thick hands in his while she was trying to make him move. Quack. The mouth opened wide, ready to bite her. Ack. Crack. At that moment, she put energy into her hand, crushed the monster's head, and punched the chest. Puck. Quack. Bong. The body felt as if it had been thrown back. Ko Wang Suk, who sent the monster away, burst into tears and ran to Chen Wumiang, wiping out the brains and blood on her. Young master, I am scared. Seeing her approaching, he only thought, I am more scared. But he couldn't say that. Meanwhile, the body with the head burst got up and ran again. Young master. We need to leave now. They decided to move as Hu Bong urged them. Yes, uncle. Let's move away for now. Fat. Chen Wumiang agreed to it and flew to the other side of the forest. And dreamed of his first ever adventure, which turned into a horror story. Well, this wasn't a banned area for nothing. Was that really dead? Everything that happened earlier made no sense. However, Chen Wumiang, who was walking back, caught something. Huh? What could be seen through the fog were the rogues who ran away. He could see them taking a step back. What's with them? Puzzled, he got closer to them to see clearly, but then understood why they were stepping back. Numerous figures were visible through the thick fog. All were the same kind of monsters.